Fearless communication in political debates is not just about raising one's voice or interrupting an opponent, it is about the ability to remain steady, confident, and articulate even when confronted with hostility, criticism, or misinformation. When Jasmine Crockett took the stage and engaged in her exchange that left a Republican speechless, it was not only her command of facts that stood out but her courage to confront an adversary directly. Fearless communication is born out of preparation and conviction. Politicians who are well prepared know their subjects in depth, and that knowledge gives them the strength to stand tall when challenged. Crockett demonstrated this quality by speaking with authority, presenting arguments that could not easily be dismissed, and ensuring that her voice carried both substance and weight. In a climate where debates are often filled with sound bites and rehearsed lines, the ability to respond spontaneously with clarity reflects both intelligence and fearlessness. The essence of fearless communication lies in authenticity. Audiences, whether in Congress or in the general public, can detect when someone is speaking rehearsed words versus when they speak from conviction. Crockett's communication style is direct, passionate, and unafraid of confrontation, which makes her words resonate more deeply. Fearlessness in political debates also requires the courage to challenge narratives that may be popular among certain groups but harmful to the larger public. It means being willing to face backlash, criticism from media outlets, and even personal attacks, yet choosing to stand firmly behind the truth. When Crockett left her Republican opponent speechless, it wasn't because she shouted the loudest, but because her words were sharpened by truth and grounded in facts that could not be countered. Another critical dimension of fearless communication is composure under pressure. Political debates are high-stakes environments where cameras, microphones, and millions of viewers are watching every word and gesture. A slight hesitation can be amplified, a misstep can become a headline, and nervousness can be misinterpreted as weakness. Crockett showed that maintaining composure, even while pressing tough points, enhances the strength of the message. Her ability to remain calm while delivering sharp rebuttals exemplifies how fearlessness does not always look like aggression. Sometimes it is the quiet confidence of someone who knows the facts and is unbothered by intimidation tactics. This balance between firmness and composure is what makes fearless communication effective. Fearless communication also involves a willingness to embrace risk. In politics, speaking out strongly can sometimes alienate certain groups or invite criticism, but silence can be even more damaging. By boldly stating her position, Crockett displayed a willingness to put her reputation on the line for the sake of clarity and truth. Such risks often create memorable moments because they reveal the speaker's genuine priorities. Fearless communicators are not constantly calculating political gains or losses in the moment, they are focused on delivering a message that matters. This was clear when Crockett dismantled her opponent's argument so thoroughly that no rebuttal was possible, leaving silence as the only response. Furthermore, fearless communication has a ripple effect beyond the immediate exchange. It empowers audiences who may feel voiceless or intimidated by dominant narratives. When a leader demonstrates courage in speaking out, it provides validation to those who share similar beliefs but lack a platform to express them. Crockett's performance in that moment gave encouragement to her supporters and reminded them that their concerns are not only valid but defendable against even the most aggressive opposition. This psychological impact of fearless communication can be more powerful than the immediate political point being made. It builds trust, strengthens loyalty, and inspires confidence in leadership. Another vital aspect is the ability to frame arguments in ways that simplify complexity without diluting the truth. Fearless communication often means cutting through jargon, statistics, and political spin to deliver a message that resonates with everyday people. Crockett demonstrated that clarity, combined with passion, can turn complex issues into relatable truths. When someone can break down an argument in plain terms, it removes the opponent's ability to hide behind complicated rhetoric or misleading claims. Fearlessness in this sense is also about accessibility, making sure that the truth is not lost in technicalities but is communicated in a way that everyone can understand. A deeper layer of fearless communication is emotional intelligence. Understanding the mood of the room, recognizing when to push harder and when to pause, and knowing how to use tone and body language effectively are all crucial. Crockett's exchange demonstrated that she could read her opponent's weaknesses, anticipate their responses, and deliver her points at the right moment for maximum effect. This requires courage because misreading the room can backfire, but when done correctly, it amplifies the impact of words. Fearless communicators are not only strong in content but also intuitive in delivery. One cannot ignore the role of confidence in shaping fearless communication. Confidence is not arrogance, it is the steady assurance that comes from preparation, lived experience, and conviction. Crockett's confidence in her words made them more powerful because they carried the weight of certainty. Confidence enables speakers to project authority and credibility, making their audience more likely to listen and their opponents less able to undermine them. In debates, where interruptions and confrontations are common, confidence allows a speaker to maintain control of the narrative and prevent their message from being drowned out. Lastly, fearless communication thrives when it is backed by purpose. People who communicate fearlessly are not simply interested in winning arguments, they are driven by a larger mission. Crockett's communication reflects her broader commitment to justice, equity, and truth. This sense of purpose adds depth to her words and makes them more than just political rhetoric. It transforms her communication into a form of advocacy that resonates beyond the walls of Congress. Audiences sense when someone is motivated by genuine purpose, and that authenticity gives the message more power than any rehearsed talking point. Exposing truth to dismantle misinformation and false narratives is one of the most important roles in modern politics, especially in an era where social media, partisan media outlets, and rapid news cycles can spread misleading claims far faster than facts. When Jasmine Crockett left her Republican opponent speechless, it was not just about her style of speaking, it was about her ability to shine a light on inaccuracies and replace them with clarity. Misinformation thrives on confusion, half-truths, and emotional manipulation. It is designed to distract audiences from reality and create doubt where there should be certainty. Leaders who can expose truth are not only correcting false claims but are also providing a pathway for people to navigate through the noise of competing narratives. Crockett's moment highlighted how effective it can be when a politician directly addresses misleading statements, deconstructs them point by point, and reinforces the truth with precision. The act of dismantling misinformation requires courage and preparation. Misinformation is often repeated so many times that it begins to sound believable, and challenging it publicly means risking backlash from those who have invested in that narrative. Yet silence allows falsehoods to gain ground. Crockett demonstrated that directly calling out these inaccuracies is a necessary step in reclaiming the integrity of political discourse. By refusing to let misleading claims stand unchallenged, she showed that truth can be a weapon in itself. When misinformation is confronted with facts, logic, and clarity, it collapses under its own weakness. This process can be uncomfortable in the moment, but it prevents the normalization of false narratives that, if left unchecked, can reshape public opinion in dangerous ways. Exposing truth is not only about correcting facts, it is also about highlighting the motives behind misinformation. Political opponents often use false narratives strategically, not out of ignorance but to manipulate perception and gain advantage. Crockett's ability to dismantle these tactics revealed not only the falsity of the claims but also the intention behind them. By pulling back the curtain on why certain narratives are being pushed, she empowered audiences to see beyond the surface. When people understand that a false claim is not just wrong but deliberately misleading, they are more likely to resist its influence. This deeper layer of truth-telling moves the conversation away from surface-level disagreements and toward a broader understanding of integrity in politics. Another critical aspect of exposing truth is the ability to present evidence in a way that is accessible and relatable. Facts alone are not always enough to dismantle a false narrative. They must be framed in language that the audience can grasp and connect with. Crockett exemplified this by using direct, clear communication rather than relying solely on technical or abstract arguments. This strategy ensures that misinformation cannot hide behind complexity. The truth becomes undeniable when it is expressed in terms that ordinary people can see reflected in their own lives and experiences. In this way, exposing truth is not just an intellectual exercise but an act of connecting with the public in meaningful terms. The power of exposing truth also lies in timing. Misinformation often spreads quickly, and the longer it goes unchallenged, the more deeply it can take root. Effective communicators like Crockett seize the moment to correct falsehoods immediately, before they become embedded in the narrative. By addressing misinformation in real time during a heated exchange, she demonstrated that waiting to correct later is less effective than challenging directly in the moment. This immediate response not only weakens the opponent's position but also signals to the audience that misleading claims will not be tolerated or ignored. It sets a precedent that truth will always have a voice. Exposing truth has psychological effects as well. When a false narrative is dismantled publicly, it can create a powerful moment of accountability. The individual spreading the misinformation may be left speechless, as happened in Crockett's exchange, because their usual tactics of evasion or repetition no longer work. This silence becomes a moment of truth in itself, showing audiences that deception cannot stand against solid facts. It also strengthens the confidence of those who already knew the truth but may have felt powerless to confront the falsehood on their own. By watching a leader dismantle lies, people are reminded that facts still matter and that deception can be resisted. Misinformation often thrives on repetition, but exposing truth relies on consistency. A single moment of dismantling a false claim is powerful, but it becomes transformative when leaders consistently repeat and reinforce the truth. Crockett's style embodies this consistency, as she not only corrects false narratives but continues to remind audiences of the reality behind the issues. This persistent truth-telling prevents misinformation from regaining ground and ensures that clarity becomes stronger with each repetition. Just as lies can spread through repetition, truth can become even more powerful when it is repeated with conviction. Exposing truth also requires moral clarity. Leaders must decide that they value integrity more than convenience, because sometimes allowing a false claim to stand unchallenged can seem easier in the moment. Crockett chose the harder path of directly confronting her opponent, demonstrating that defending truth is a responsibility, not an option. This moral clarity builds trust with audiences who are hungry for authenticity in an environment where political spin often overshadows reality. When leaders make it clear that they will always choose truth over comfort, they create a foundation of credibility that strengthens their influence long-term. The process of dismantling misinformation can also serve as an educational moment for the public. When a leader carefully deconstructs a false claim, they are not only correcting their opponent but also teaching audiences how to think critically. Crockett's approach provided a model for how individuals can challenge misleading narratives in their own lives, whether in conversations, on social media, or in community discussions. By demonstrating the process of exposing truth, she empowered others to replicate it. This ripple effect is one of the most valuable outcomes of dismantling misinformation. It strengthens the public's resilience against future falsehoods. Finally, exposing truth to dismantle false narratives is about protecting democracy itself. Misinformation weakens the foundations of democratic society by eroding trust, dividing communities, and manipulating citizens into making decisions based on lies. Every time a leader like Crockett challenges a falsehood and replaces it with truth, it safeguards the democratic process by ensuring that public debate is grounded in reality rather than illusion. This is why moments where opponents are left speechless carry such weight. They are not just victories for one individual, they are reminders of the enduring power of truth in the face of deception. Inspiring confidence in leadership through authenticity and conviction is one of the most powerful qualities any public figure can embody, and it is a quality that Jasmine Crockett demonstrated when she left her Republican opponent speechless. Confidence in leadership does not simply come from a title or a position of authority, it emerges from the way a leader communicates, the way they hold their ground under pressure, and the way their actions align with their values. Authenticity is the foundation of this confidence. People instinctively trust leaders who appear genuine, who speak from their own experiences, and who show consistency between their words and their actions. Crockett's style of leadership is rooted in this authenticity, and it is what makes her message resonate so strongly with supporters. When leaders are authentic, they strip away the layers of political performance and reveal a human being who believes deeply in the causes they fight for, and that kind of honesty builds unshakable trust. Conviction is the driving force behind authenticity. A leader can be eloquent, charismatic, and intelligent, but if they lack conviction, their words will not inspire confidence. Conviction is the unwavering belief in a principle or a cause that compels a leader to stand firm even when opposition is fierce. Crockett's conviction was evident in the way she pressed her points with clarity and determination, refusing to be silenced or swayed by attempts to derail the conversation. It is this kind of conviction that assures people their leader is not just speaking for political advantage but because they truly believe in the truth they are defending. This assurance transforms the perception of a leader from being a politician to being an advocate, someone who can be relied upon to represent the people faithfully even in the most hostile environments. Inspiring confidence also depends on transparency. Leaders who are willing to be open about their positions, their reasoning, and even their struggles are more likely to connect with their audience on a deeper level. Crockett's authenticity gave her the ability to communicate openly without the need for political evasiveness or vague language. This openness allows people to feel that they know where she stands and that they can depend on her to be consistent in her principles. Transparency builds confidence because it reduces the gap between the leader and the public, creating a sense of shared understanding and mutual respect. Another element of inspiring confidence through authenticity and conviction is the refusal to compromise truth for popularity. Too often leaders choose the safer path of saying what people want to hear instead of saying what people need to hear. Authentic leaders, however, embrace the responsibility of speaking truth even when it is uncomfortable. Crockett exemplified this by addressing issues directly and refusing to water down her message to avoid controversy. This boldness resonates with audiences who crave leaders that prioritize honesty over convenience. When a leader demonstrates that their conviction is stronger than their fear of backlash, they establish themselves as trustworthy figures whose confidence comes not from political calculation but from moral clarity. Authenticity also involves vulnerability. Leaders who pretend to be flawless often lose credibility because people know perfection is impossible. Authentic leaders embrace their humanity, acknowledging mistakes and demonstrating growth. This quality inspires confidence because it shows that the leader is relatable and real. Crockett's communication style carries this relatability. Her passion, her directness, and her unapologetic defense of her beliefs all show that she is not hiding behind a facade but presenting herself as she truly is. People are more likely to believe in leaders who admit their flaws but continue to fight for what is right than in those who pretend to be untouchable. Conviction in leadership creates a sense of stability. When people see a leader standing firmly, it reassures them that they have someone strong to rely on during uncertain times. This stability is not about being inflexible but about being consistent in values. Crockett's ability to remain steady under pressure is a reflection of this stability, and it is one of the reasons her words left such a strong impression. A leader who communicates with conviction provides a compass for others to follow, especially when misinformation or political games create confusion. Stability in leadership inspires confidence because it reassures people that even in the midst of chaos, their leader will not waver from the truth. Inspiring confidence also means demonstrating courage. Courage is the visible expression of conviction, and it reassures people that their leader is willing to confront challenges head-on. Crockett's moment of leaving her opponent without a response was a demonstration of this courage, as she did not avoid confrontation but engaged with it directly. This act of courage signals to people that their leader is not only willing to speak for them but willing to fight for them when it matters most. The courage of a leader inspires followers to be courageous as well, creating a collective strength that goes beyond a single debate or moment. Authentic leadership also inspires confidence through consistency across time. A leader who changes their message depending on the audience quickly loses trust, but one who remains consistent demonstrates reliability. Crockett's consistency in her values and the way she communicates them assures people that she is not swayed by convenience or political pressure. This consistency builds a track record that strengthens confidence with each new moment of truth-telling. It is not one debate alone that inspires trust, but the pattern of showing up authentically and with conviction again and again. Another important factor is the alignment of words with action. Authentic leaders do not just speak convincingly, they act in ways that back up their words. Conviction without action can feel hollow, but conviction supported by action inspires deep confidence. Crockett's legislative work and advocacy reinforce the authenticity of her public statements, showing that her words are not empty rhetoric but reflections of her true commitments. This alignment assures people that what she says in debates is what she will pursue in her work, making her leadership more credible and inspiring greater confidence. Finally, inspiring confidence through authenticity and conviction creates long-term influence. While moments of political theater come and go, the impression left by a leader who speaks authentically and with conviction endures. People remember the leaders who made them feel that truth still has a place in politics, who gave them confidence that their voices were represented, and who showed them that courage and honesty can prevail even in hostile environments. The legacy of such leadership lies not just in the policies passed but in the renewed trust people place in their institutions and in their own ability to demand better from those in power.